You guys know that I knew the mic was muted. I was just waiting for you to say something in the room, right? Oh, because that's what I do. I'm an asshole. Hello, and welcome to another Front Porch stream, this time from my couch, which I can't be removed from, in the house that was built by the Ice King. Honey, you are going to need to scoot over to get into the camera a little more. There we go, much closer. Act like we like each other. If it seems like the mic is off tonight or it doesn't sound as clear, the reason is our wonderful children have once again attacked my cords on the nice mic. So we're back to the backup mic yet again, which isn't really great for us. So if there's problems with the quality tonight, I'm really sorry about that. We're also running it on my laptop, so if there's any image issues, like if this
bless your heart.
if this one goes out of frame, let me know, because I literally we see, like with the pop-up chat here, we see like half an inch of her head on the screen. Oh, there we go.
Yeah, and I have dog butt in my face.
Yeah, and there's dog butt in her face. Oh my God, it's been a while. So what's going on? Tonight's Front Porch stream is actually Love is Shell. And that's why you're here. Because normally I like you to be hidden. I like you to be hidden. Love is Shell. And we're not sure how long we're going to do it tonight. Like I said, the furnace here has decided the coldest night of the year is the best time to quit working. So we've got to call into a repair guy now. But it's like -5 here right now with the wind chill, and the repair guys have been busy all weekend. So after the stream, we're going to go to Walmart and buy space heaters for every room of the house. More accurately, she's going to go to Walmart and buy space heaters for every room of the house. Oh, wow. So it has been a while. I think the last one of these I did, the last one of the actual Front Porch streams I did, was that was before I went down to be on the wine stream with Kage. Because I did that with Kage, the wine stream, and then that November, what did I do in November? Then I went to the Fur Park.
Yeah, Fur Park. That was the end of October, though. And then you went to MFF.
That was the beginning of December.
Yep.
And then we had the holidays in November.
We did do a couple.
We did several game streams. But really, no, that was not the cat. Shard Winterswolf asked if that was the cat. No, this is the cat.
Hello?
This is the cat, but the phone rang. So naturally, I got left alone again. We were going to start these back up in December, and then I proved how quickly you can injure yourself if you don't plan things, and ended up in the hospital. I was going to do like one of these last week, and I don't know how often you've been on pain pills. It's not like the most exciting thing in the world to be on Oxycontin and trying to talk. We actually did a video conference with some friends last week, and that didn't work out very well because I had taken a muscle relaxer right before them, and my contribution to them was to scream blankly at the camera before falling asleep on the couch. So once the Otter gets back, we'll start Love is Shell. And if you've never tuned into one of the Front Porch streams before, really what they are is they're me talking, they're me telling stories, singing songs, preferably in the public domain, but even if they're not, unlike certain research chemists who shall remain nameless, I don't care that much about YouTube copyright strikes because fuck the police. But all the things that you used to do back home when you would sit on a front porch with your friends and you would just bullshit for a while. Are they okay?
Yeah.
Okay.
That was me trying to get
They are you can hear the kids in the background. You can definitely hear the kids in the background. The kids are upstairs watching a movie and they are now arguing about sodas. So tonight, Love is Shell. I guess we should probably start with the bathroom story, shouldn't we?
Oh, how we met.
How we met. How the two of us met. Back a number of years ago, over 10 years ago now. We're old.
About 12.
Oh my God. That's right.
We've been together 12 years.
Oh, dear
Married 10.
Lord. That's horrible. Back in 2006?
2006.
2006, I drove to Pennsylvania for a friend's wedding. And this friend was very fancy. The first thing you have to understand is the drive from Kentucky to Pennsylvania, if you do it right, is nothing but corn in the Pennsylvania Turnpike. And it's like, and that's not an exaggeration. It's
and a couple scattered.
Yeah, it's like an 11-hour drive, that route. The entire route is through like eastern Kentucky, then Ohio, then straight through Pennsylvania with like a very brief section of West Virginia in there. So we had driven through that 11 hours straight. We end up in the middle of the mountains in Pennsylvania in Schuylkill County. Schuylkill County is spelled Schuylkil. It is not pronounced Schuylkill. It's pronounced Schuylkill. Schuylkill.
It's Schuylkill.
It's Schuylkill. We get there, we find out that although we have driven across 3 states and been told that there will be a, could you please with them? Thank you, sweetie. We find out that although there should be a hotel room for us, the bride and the groom have decided that we are not going to have a hotel room. We are going to be sleeping at the bride's parents' house in their living room on the recliner. There are 3 of us doing this at this point in time. The first morning there, I wake up, and the bride is flipping out. She has lost her mind. She's running around doing everything. And this red-haired tiny woman comes in and grabs her and walks off, and that's all I remember of that part. Later that day, we are at the fire hall, where the reception is going to be held, and we are decorating the fire hall, and I had to use the bathroom. So I went into the bathroom, I sat down in the bathroom, I closed the door of the bathroom, and I began to do the things that you do when you are seated in a bathroom. That's right, I played on my phone. But I'm there for maybe a minute, and here's what I hear from outside the bathroom. No, 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 no. Slam, the door slams open. Bam, the stall door slams open, and standing in front of me is like a 2-year-old blonde child watching me do my business. And immediately behind that blonde child, screaming at the top of her lungs, is the little red-haired woman from earlier that day, who grabs the child, proceeds to say, "Oh, I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm so sorry," drag the child out of the bathroom and close the door behind them. I did not know who this was. I did know that was very surreal. So I walked out of the bathroom, and there's this red-haired woman with this little blonde child who has graduated from bursting in on strange men in the bathroom to flinging table pieces off of the reception hall table, which everyone is frantically trying to put back together before Bridezilla arrives. And there's this red-haired woman. She just looks so embarrassed at this. Like, she won't even look over at me as I'm walking out of the bathroom. Like, it's this real kind of type of thing. And I figure that that is not fair. Why, quite frankly, that red-haired woman has pretty much seen all of me there is to see at that point. So she might as well feel at ease about it. So I walked over and I charmed and enchanted her with a very classy story that just told her I was a quality person and swept her off her feet. And the next day after the wedding, we went out for drinks and sat by a lake and talked until very early in the morning. And then I drove her back to the farm and dropped her off. And we exchanged phone numbers. And from that point on, I don't think there's been more than 3 or 4 days in the past 12 years we haven't talked to each other.
Oh, you did forget to say what that riveting story was.
It was
about.
a classy tale. Classy tale. It should ensure I was a quality person. Definitely the type of person you want around you and your small child. Based on that story alone. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it was something semi-illegal.
Semi-illegal.
It was very illegal.
It was completely illegal. There was nothing legal about it. The story I told her. Well, would you like to tell them what the story was?
It was the story of your DUI.
It was the story of the one DUI I've ever gotten in my life, which I got at 21 years old. And this should say a lot about her taste. That is the story that made her say, I want to get to know him better.
It was how you told it, not the content necessarily.
That's the same thing you say in bed.
Oh, God.
It's how you do it, not how it is.
It's not the size of the boat. It's the motion
It's
of
the
the
motion
ocean.
in the ocean. And but it was very fun. That is how we ended up together. Was that story and several drinks at a bar afterwards and exchanging phone numbers. Her maiden name is Polish.
Very, very,
very Polish. I'm not sure if you're aware of how Polish names work, but essentially they take like 2 O's and then a handful of random consonants and throw them together and make a pronunciation that doesn't sound correct. So while we were dating, I kept her name spelled phonetically on a card in my wallet.
Matter of fact, you still have that in that wallet.
Yes, I still do. I still have that card. I didn't know you still had that wallet, though.
I still have that wallet.
But that is how we met, and it was about, a year later, you moved down to Kentucky. Mm-hmm. And then I proposed, and I proposed in a classy manner, too.
Would you like to make the biggest mistake of your life?
Yeah, I certainly did. We went out to, well, you tell this one.
Well, we went, he took me out to Hibachi Bar, and we had a very nice dinner, and then he sat me down, and he had the couple across the table from us really excited because they seen
they
pull out
had
the ring
seen
box,
the ring
and they're like,
box.
"Oh my God, this is the greatest thing ever!" But he just slides the box across to me and then turns to me and says, "Would you like to make the biggest mistake of your life?"
And I've lived up to every bit of that. And I want a caveat. Because you say it like that and it sounds horrible. This is how our relationship is. And I would have actually got, I had a plan to get down on a knee and do the whole thing. But she said the couple across the table was very excited. The couple wasn't excited. The woman across the table was very excited. And she had been berating her spouse for the majority of the dinner.
That's true.
And
you're like,
well, I decided I'm not giving this bitch a story. This poor woman has ruined everyone's night.
Boozy's really fun to go grocery shopping
Oh,
with.
I'm amazingly fun to go grocery shopping with. Do you have a particular story about that?
Oh my God. Well, wasn't there the one where you pushed the lady's cart down the aisle because she was blocking it?
Yes, I did.
And the time we went to Best Buy and played Good Cop, Bad Cop, and all I can hear from the back of the store is, "So what you're telling me is you're expecting me to bend over and take it."
No. I'll change that. We went in and whatever they told me, I said, "Oh, so you're screwing me?" And they said, "Sir, it worked exactly how it was supposed to work." And I said, "Oh, so what you're telling me is you're screwing me and I should bend over and like it." At which point the clerk said, "Sir, there are children in here." And I'm pretty sure the kids have heard somebody say Best Buy screwing them before. It's a very common phrase. At which point she appeared out of nowhere and told me to go sit in the car.
Yeah. Well, no, actually, you walked out, you sat in the car. I came back in, and I played good cop, and I'm like, "Oh, I'm so sorry." The sales associate walked me through, and he's like, "I've been dying to chew out my manager like that. Come this way." We got, no shit, an upgrade on our TV, and a free Blu-ray player because of this.
Yeah. Like we had bought the bottom barrel brand Insignia.
Yeah, it was like the Best Buy brand. TV.
And it had died, and instead of fixing it, they just told Geek Squad to replace it.
Oh
even
no,
though
they
it was
sent Geek
complete...
Squad out three times to our house with a broken screen.
With a broken replacement part. And the third time the guy said, well, all we need is the new part and I can fix it. And Best Buy said it wouldn't approve it and said, no, just have them come in and exchange it. Which would have voided out. We were like a year into a 2-year protection warranty, Geek Squad
and
warranty.
Voided out our warranty.
And I was pissed about that because it was fixable.
It wasn't even a year in.
Yeah, it was fixable.
It was like 6 months.
It was, and if they had fixed it, it wouldn't have voided out the Geek Squad protection, but replacing it did. So I wanted them to fix it. I didn't want them to replace it. I wanted to keep the extra money I'd paid. So after all that, apparently the kid who was helping her with the TV was like, oh, we don't have any Insignias of that type, so here's the very nice Samsung one.
Yeah. Upgraded the TV, and he's like, oh, and here's this Samsung Blu-ray player that's a floor model.
Yeah, then he's like, I discretionarily can give you store credit up to this amount.
Mm-hmm. So we got a free Blu-ray player.
Yeah. This is how our marriage works, by the way.
Good cop, bad cop.
Basically.
It's typically you playing bad cop.
Well, I'm very good at it.
You are good at it. That's why you're a lawyer.
People mistake yelling with anger so often.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Don't get drunk. You got to go to Walmart later and make sure we don't all freeze to death. But yeah, so that's the foundation of our marriage. Now, everyone has these relationships, though. And I will tell a story a little later. When I'm certain that none of the kids are on the staircase listening in, that will. We said that, and here's what we hear from the staircase: dunk, 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 dunk. As they walk back upstairs, there's the door closing. Oh. Which one do you think that was?
Maggie.
Definitely Maggie. Oh, so what story do you have any stories? This is how the Front Porch Stream works. When you walk in and I'm sitting in there just rambling at the screen, this is what I'm doing 9 times out of 10.
Yeah.
Either that or I've completely lost my fucking mind.
I'm like 6 of one, half a dozen of the other. I just leave you alone. Do what you do.
Good. Somebody just posted acrylic in the chat room, and their name is Memes Random. So I'm going to ask one of the people with the wrench there to please remove the acrylic posting, because we're not going to do that crap. Uh-oh. This is our lives. This is what happened. Can you see why I schedule these normally when I have most of the house to myself? Thomas stopped, and now it has to start again. Hold on. Do you want to see why love is shell? Because love leads to things like making love, which leads to things like small children, which leads to things like knowing this. They're 2, they're 4, they're 6, they're 8, shunting trucks and hauling freight, red and green and brown and blue. They're the really useful crew. All with different roles to play. Round Tidmouth sheds are far away. On the hill and round the bend, Thomas and his friends. Thomas.
He's the cheeky one.
James.
He's vain but lots of fun.
Percy.
Pulls the mail on time.
Gordon.
Thunders down the line. Emily. Really knows her stuff.
Edward. Hoots and huffs and puffs.
Henry wants to help and share.
Toby.
Well, let's say he's square.
They're 2, they're 4, they're 6, they're 8, shunting trucks and hauling freight, red and green and brown and blue. They're the really useful crew, all with different roads to play. Round Tidmouth sheds are far away. On the road and round the bend, Thomas and his friends. Right now is where somebody starts going, for like 10 minutes straight. Oh, my goodness. Yes, Webster, that is the new Thomas the Tank Engine theme song. It's actually the same melody as the old one.
It is.
But now it has nicer words than that. Right after that song, here's what here. The Isle of Sodor. We know way too much about Thomas the Tank Engine and Skylanders and all the YouTube stars.
Oh, goodness, Skylanders.
Oh, my God.
I know every single one of them, what they do, what their stats are. In Swap Force, which one switch with which one to make which one, and oh god.
So we talked about how we met.
Yeah.
Right? Let's talk about our worst relationships.
Oh god.
Yes, we've had these conversations before. Like, you guys aren't getting anything that, like, there's not gonna be. She's not gonna say something. I'm gonna be like, "Bitch, we're getting a divorce." That's not going to happen. We've done this before. Would you like to open?
Oh god. Geez, I don't know. Where do I start?
Yeah. Start at the beginning.
Oh, give me one second.
Go ahead and take. Her phone is ringing off the hook. She's very popular. I don't know why. Oh. Yeah, we know the Thomas the Tank Engine theme song. We also know. Are you thinking about bringing back the Patreon to $5 from $4.51? Dave, I don't know whether I will or not. Quite frankly, it's a lot of work to go in there and edit those around. So I'm like half and half on that. Because I edited over. Some people will change, some people won't. Maybe just leave it where the fuck it is. Because I'm pretty sure I know what story is coming. Yes, Dante knows what story is coming, but I know every Wiggles song. Bane Runner, do you know Toot Toot Chugga Chugga Big Red Car? Because if you don't, then yeah, you don't know everyone, but everybody knows Big Red Car. It is the game changer of it. But that's all about having kids, and having kids is a very fun part of your life. Let me tell you how I found out I was going to have kids. I walked in one day and was told I'm pregnant. And I looked over and said, "Oh, how did that happen?" And she said, "Well, in the usual manner." At which point I said, "Stop being a smartass." A few days later, we went down to the hospital to have that checked out, and the doctor put the ultrasound on and said, "Oh, there's the heartbeat. Oh, and there's the other one." And my reaction was, "The other one?" And he said, "Oh, you're having twins." And I said, "Well, I'm fucked." That actually, I found out years later, that story got told several times around the hospital. "Oh, it's twins. Oh, I'm fucked." It was a very divorce stream. Yay. Gummy Bjorn has asked me how the drumstick's doing. I'm assuming you're talking about my leg. It is incredibly painful. It is very much incredibly painful. It's okay on days like today where I'm doing what my doctor has told me to do, which is sit down and don't move if I can avoid it. It's much worse this week. I returned to the office this week. For the people who are tuning in and just know I was in a car accident, let me tell you what happened. I was driving home from work on the 11th. A car in front of me on a unlit stretch of roadway made a sudden stop to turn without signaling. I did not have space to stop. It was bad conditions. I hit them. The speed limit on that road's probably, I think it's 45. I was doing probably the speed limit, probably 45 miles an hour. Probably hit them at about 40 miles an hour, though. It broke my hip, and the ball on my femur actually split completely in two, and then when the bottom half, which remained attached to my femur, then took a slight vacation out of my hip, where it remained out of place for about 10 hours until it was put back into place in surgery. And I was ordered to stay off of it, not put any weight on it, not move too much, not bend past 90 degrees, given a large amount of painkillers. They actually wanted to send me to an inpatient rehab hospital originally, but it was coming close to Christmas, and there was no way I was going to be inpatient for Christmas. So I came home. I was off work for a month. I just went back this Monday. My doctor would much have preferred I not go back, but I have cases, and if I'm not in the office, the firm has the ability to activate a clause in my contract which allows them to pay me a much reduced rate. Let me put it this way. For the month of December, I made less than a third of what I normally make, and we have bills. So I went back to the office on Monday. It has been interesting to be back in the office. I am not cleared for court appearances. I am not cleared until the end of this month for any travel over an hour and a half in a vehicle. It's been very painful because instead of raising my leg and setting it down, doing things I normally do, I can't really move it that much when I'm at the office. I'm in one position. It's not too bad because my chair sits very much up high. But when I have to go in the conference room to meet a client or something like that, it puts, I guess, my butt below my waist is the best way to put it, and it creates some problems. And yeah. Shard says, and that's why we threw money at you. Yes, and thank you all very much. It has been financially a rough month for us because of that, especially with the Otter having a work-related injury and having to take time off of work to help care for me. And you guys really did help out. I didn't ask for it. I didn't expect it. Dixie Linus and them kind of got that started and basically told me I was taking the money whether I wanted it or not. And it has very much helped, and it will continue to help out. I have a high deductible health plan. I'm going to be having to put a down payment on a car. Quite frankly, had it not been for you guys, we would have drained our savings over the past month and been put in a bad spot, especially with some other things we have going on. So thank you very, very much for that. And thank you to everyone out there who, for some reason, decided they were going to send my kids Christmas gifts. You guys really... you have given me a way to teach my children something, and that is there are a lot of good people out there, and this is why they should always help people, because people have helped us. Adrix Blackclaw. Ardrix Blackclaw is commenting on our Stedman. Our Stedman.
Yeah. That's pretty awesome.
That is a Ralph Stedman. It's a print on... It's a print.
It's print.
It's a print.
It's still awesome.
Yeah, it's a print on wood, I think.
It is on wood.
And it is actually one of his illustrations from Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas, the Hunter S. Thompson piece.
Boozy is from the same city as Hunter S. Thompson.
I am. Hunter S. Thompson is from Louisville, Kentucky. He is a legend in Louisville. Quack Quack Honk says, hugs. Thank you very much. And by the way, I do have to say that Red Walker that you also said, it came in very handy, especially with the horn. So, the Walker horn. So, anyways, we were on bad relations. I was filling them in on how my week has gone at work. What's going on?
Oh, nothing. We're just trying to get the heat situation sorted.
When do we think that's going to be?
Yeah. I put in a tag with UGI. If I can't get anywhere with them, then I have somebody coming over.
Okay.
So.
Well, I mean, it's not a gas flow issue, I don't think.
I don't think it is.
I mean, I don't think it's a gas flow issue.
That's the first place you want to start in case.
Yeah, well, it could be. It could always be. Where's the big hooker kitty? You say that, and right as you say that, she just jumped over the gate on the steps.
Okay.
Come here, Sheba. Come here. Oh, you my kitty. All right. So, anyways, we were talking about worst relationships.
Oh, goodness.
You know what, let's change. Worst relationship moment.
Worst relationship moment?
Worst relationship moment.
Oh, goodness. The time your sister threw a fit at Easter dinner?
Oh, my God.
Because we were naming our children what we were naming them?
You have to understand my sister.
She's bipolar.
We don't diagnose her.
She's diagnosed.
No, she's actually said it. Yeah, that's... My sister is a very good person. And she is. She would do anything for us. She really would. But she is... bipolar, and she refuses really to seek treatment. And it's okay, but it does mean she is prone to fits. When we had chosen the names for our children, we chose my maternal grandmother, who had passed on a couple years before. We chose her for the name of our daughter. And my sister, who at that point had 2 boys, had no plans to have another child, and actually was married to somebody who could not have children, threw a god-awful fit, because that was the name she wanted to use, at Easter dinner and stormed out of the house.
Yeah. I think some ham was thrown.
There was. She threw ham at you, didn't she? Oh my God. You have to understand, that was not like my sister acting out of emotion. She's a vegetarian, and my family knows this. And knew it at the time. My sister calculatedly grabbed a slice of ham and threw it at her. Now, it's funny now.
It wasn't
at
funny.
the time,
chucked at your head.
At the time, she was like 4 months pregnant. It was not amusing.
With twins.
With twins. It was not amusing at all. I actually, that is one of the few times in my life that my entire family came in and said the same thing. And it's trying to tell me to restart stuff, and I don't want to restart stuff. I came and said the same thing to my sister, which is, you have to apologize to them. Normally with my sister, you are asked to apologize to her, because if you ask her to apologize, you're going to wait a long time.
We ended up buying a house because of that.
Remember I'm at work? When we bought it, we were living in a rental house. And when we bought the house that we had in Kentucky, it was my sister's old house. It was a nice house. There wasn't anything wrong with it except the neighbors. It was a nice house. Yeah. My sister was trying to sell it, and we said, well, okay, we'll look at it. We decided to buy it. Well, we kind of got pushed into buying it.
Yeah, your sister was like, yeah, you're buying this house so that I can buy the one I want or else.
But it was something that at the time we were going to buy a house anyways. It was there. It was a ranch. It had enough room for us. We probably would have done the same thing she did. We'd lived there for 3-4 years and then sold it and moved somewhere else. But anyways, about the same time, another house came on the market, and it was really big, really beautiful, and she loved it. So she said, let's go look at this other house.
It was really pretty.
And I said, okay, we can look. And I because we hadn't signed anything, I called my dad. And I said, Dad, could you let my sister know that we are going to go and take a look at this other house? But, nothing's decided. We haven't made up our minds. I go into work. I'm sitting at work. My office phone rings. At this, I work for a very large insurance company. My office phone rings. It's her. She's in tears. And I say, what's going on? And she goes, your sister's at the front door knocking and screaming and she won't go away. She didn't even know if she was home. We had one girl. She didn't even know if she was home. My sister just decided, very correctly, obviously, that you had gone into hiding from her and came over to pound on the door screaming for you and to open it.
Although, to be fair, though, she was knocking to apologize.
Yeah, at that point, she was knocking to apologize. But
I didn't know because I hadn't talked to her. I was afraid to talk to her.
The funniest part of this is after we moved to Pennsylvania, we were standing outside one night because we do not normally smoke in the house. That's not so. I'm allowed to smoke when I'm streaming in one room. We don't normally smoke in the house. We are smoking in the house now and then very much deodorizing the hell out of it because of my hip injury and the fact it's like 0 degrees outside.
Yeah. I'm not sending you outside
yeah.
with the walker.
But we went up here and we were out back one night talking, and she said something about my sister, and I said, careful. Because we're going to look up, and she's going to be standing right behind you, having ran across 3 states, bare-breasted through the woods, like grabbing deer and ripping them apart as she goes through.
And if this isn't terrifying enough, she's about as big as Boozy is.
Oh, she's bigger than me.
Yeah.
She's bigger than me.
I am not at all a large person.
I love the fact that like every third message right now is showing up and asking me to approve it, and it's always Gummy Bjorn. Everybody's saying like Grandma Kage, that doesn't sound this isn't very fun. I don't know what's going on. Zad4 is asking if he missed something, and the cat is named Hooker. The cat is not named Hooker. The cat is named Sheba. The story of the cat is I came home from work one day, walked in the bathroom, and there was a cat sitting on the sink staring at me. I don't know why, because we didn't have a cat. And I closed it. This cat has like one milky blind eye, and it's snaggle toothed, and it's broken. She doesn't purr or meow right. Like she purrs like, and she meows like, meow, meow. Now she's looking at me. And she just looks scraggly old cat. And I walk out and I call downstairs and I go, honey, why is there a cat in the bathroom? And she goes, oh, that's Sheba. Because obviously I didn't need any more explanation than, oh, the cat's name is Sheba. It was a barn cat. It was a stray that had been dumped on the farm.
Yeah, my parents have a farm. This poor cat had been dumped on it, and she was very obviously a house cat, and an old house cat, and she was not used to sleeping outside. And my mom felt bad for her, and she's like, can you take her in? Your dad's not going to let me. So now she's here.
Now she lives with us.
Yep.
And Kage heard this story, and Uncle Kage, immediately upon hearing the story, said, you know, if you replace the word cat with hooker, it's a much more interesting story.
It is. So
we now have a hooker cat named Sheba, who curls up on my chest and goes, meow. Oh, I have an interesting family. You don't know the half of it. With the exception of my mother, my entire family is bipolar, and that includes me. But I'm medicated.
Yeah, but your mom also has some issues.
My mother has only child syndrome.
Well, that, and I'm pretty sure she has some kind of anxiety disorder. Yeah. Like, she calls you, like, 20 times in a row until you pick up your phone.
You did not know my grandmother. That's not uncommon. That's Southern normal.
Well, see, that's
Southern normal.
My mom barely picks up, like, somebody actually almost literally has to die before my mom will pick up the phone for anything. She hates calling people. I taught her how to text so she could get out of calling people.
You know, the way the Front Porch stream also works is at some point I start singing.
Okay.
So at some point we have to come up with a song for me to sing.
You come up with something.
Yeah. Public domain is normally the best way to go on this. It won't stop me from getting a copyright ting. But once again, unlike the research chemist from North Carolina, I don't care. I'll take your copyright strikes. All you'll do is move me to Twitch. Daily motion streaming videos. Bebo. If you go furry and bipolar, you may be a werewolf.
Yes. I love it.
Well, somebody told me that the furry fandom, by and large, is filled with people who are both bi and large.
That's not a lie.
Yeah. Back to my bipolar family, though. Sing the Thomas song again to traumatize the audience? No.
No.
The bipolar part of my family is very interesting in the fact that we once had a dog who was on Prozac. This was back when Prozac was like the medication.
Yeah.
Like it wasn't a generic. You couldn't get it in generic. It was Prozac. our dog was on Prozac. He had an anxiety disorder. He would lick his paws raw. So we had to give the dog Prozac. You know your family is strange when your pets are medicated.
And that was not like you had your family had a series of corgis that was like medicated to the hill.
Right now is like the only time my family has not had a corgi.
Yeah, but they've also and an unmedicated dog.
That Chihuahua needs to be medicated.
Probably.
Sing "It's a Small World." As long as you don't start singing the Singaporean national. Can you sing the theme from the Banana Split show? Were Badger. Oh, that's an old one. What's going on in the chat there? What's going on? Let's see. Let's scroll up a little. Sheba is her state. Good evening from Austria. Hello, Austria.
Hello.
You are not the land of the schnitzel. That's Germany. Let's see. Oh, you know what Austria is the land of, though?
Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Snow-covered hills.
That is true.
Snow-covered. Austria. Wasn't Austria the country in The Sound of Music?
Yeah, was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Edelweiss, Edelweiss, every morning you greet me, soft and white, clean and bright. You look happy to meet me. Blossom of snow, may you bloom and grow forever. Edelweiss, Edelweiss, bless my homeland forever.
Oh goodness!
Oh.
I had to stop myself from laughing in the middle of that.
Wir have Wiener Schnitzel.
I directed musical theater in high school, and we were doing a production of Sound of Music.
Speak up.
And there, you hear Edelweiss, and then in the background you just hear "All Night Long, Let Me See That," and I fly in the back and find out that like two of my characters had not turned off their walking mics. So they're in the back singing the thong song in the performance the principal was at. That was pretty fun.
She was a theater nerd.
I was.
She was a theater nerd. I have heard stories. We did not know each other, and we would not have gotten along in high school.
Probably not, because you were on the football team.
I was on the
a theater
football
nerd.
team. She was a theater nerd. We
I was
would
band
not have
geek.
gotten along. I was like a secret nerd.
You were a secret
I was
nerd.
a secret nerd.
I had laid it all out on the table. Like,
Thank
I
you,
sat at the gay table. I am not even kidding. It was the gay table.
My whole school was the gay table.
Well, yeah, no, you went to a magnet school.
I went to a magnet school. The magnets at this school were math, science, and technology. High school university, which was all like a gifted and talented university level courses in high school. The arts, there was an art magnet there, and the performing arts, the musical theater magnet, which was actually a separate school. They just took their academics with us. So like the gay to straight ratio of my school was roughly half and half. It was very interesting. And it was amazingly interesting. Like the football team had like a guy who's like, Coach, I've got to leave practice early because I got the part of Seymour in the school production of Little Shop of Horrors. And the football coach was like, oh, that's important. Go, go, go. Mm-hmm. We never won a championship.
You went to the smart kids school. The smart kids school is not going to have great football players.
Jack
had a couple, but...
Jack the Circle has asked me what I am drinking. I am drinking cherry Pepsi because I will be taking muscle relaxers later to help me get to sleep. As I said, there's decent amount of pain at night. The cold's not helping, and I do not mix prescription medications and alcohol.
Skull Crusher Mountain by Jonathan Colton is our special song.
It is. As a matter of fact, we got to tell him that.
Mm-hmm.
We went,
and he's like...
We went to a Jonathan Colton concert in 2012.
Yeah,
2012 in Philadelphia. And afterwards, we got pictures with Jonathan Colton and got to talk to him outside of the concert. And we told him that our song as a couple is Skull Crusher Mountain. And he looked at us and he said, "That's awesome and terrifying," and walked away.
He said, "That's awesome and terrifying, but awesome."
And walked away. If you don't know Skull Crusher Mountain, welcome to my secret lair on Skull Crusher Mountain. I hope that you've enjoyed your stay so far. Say, have you met my assistant, Scarface? His appearance is quite disturbing, but I assure you he's harmless enough. He's a sweetheart, calls me master, and he has a way of finding pretty things and bringing them to me. Now I'm so into you, but I'm way too smart for you. My henchmen think I'm crazy, and I'm surprised that you agree. If I could find some way to be a little bit less afraid of me, you'd see the voices that control me from inside my head say I shouldn't kill you yet. That is our song.
My favorite NSP song, it will probably my favorite is going to have to be Cookies, but our song is Peppermint Creams.
Leo says he's had a good time, but he's out. It's bad movie night. Well, go enjoy the bad movies.
Yeah,
that's much better.
Enjoy the bad movies.
That's much better than us. But yeah, Skull Crusher Mountain, Big Rock Candy Mountain from Zad 4. Mm-hmm. Oh my goodness, I'm not sure.
I don't remember the words to Big Rock Candy Mountain.
I mean, well, everybody remembers the chorus to that, but nobody ever really.
I don't think I even remember the chorus. It's been that long.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Hold on. Let's see. If I can get started, I'm normally okay on that. Bug Rock Candy Mountain? No, that's not the name of it. One evening as the sun went down and the jungle fires were burning, down the track came a hobo hiking, and he said, "Boys, I'm not turning. I'm headed for a land that's far away, beside the crystal fountains. So come with me, we'll go and see the Big Rock Candy Mountains. In the Big Rock Candy Mountains, there's a land that's fair and bright, where the handouts grow on bushes and you sleep out every night, where the boxcars are all empty and the sun shines every day. Oh, the birds and the bees and the cigarette trees, the lemonade springs and the bluebird sings in the Big Rock Candy Mountain." Oh, yeah, this is like 18 verses because it's a hobo song. Yeah.
Yeah, no.
So once again, relationship stream. We're supposed to be like talking about those sorts of things instead of just like demonstrating our relationship to people, normally through funny stories and things like that. So does anybody in the chat have like a relationship-oriented question about stuff like that, historical or things like that? Because if we have a story, I'll tell you. It is not too fast, Uncle Kage. That's exactly how fast you sing it as you're running away from one of the railroad bulls. Normally by screaming, "Not the dogs, not the dogs." Unless you're a furry, then it's "Please the dogs, please the dogs." Please the dogs. That's what the foxes do. They please the dogs. Do we have a favorite drinking song?
I know you don't like whiskey in a jar.
Nobody likes whiskey in a jar. You drink whiskey out of a snifter.
I like whiskey in a jar. Especially when it's sung by a real Irishman. Oh my goodness, we had a pet Irishman. And that sounds weird.
Dean the pet Irishman. And Dean was awesome.
Dean was awesome.
There was this little bar I used to go to. I've talked about it on like streams before. Called the Magnolia Bar in Louisville, Kentucky. It was like a dive bar, real divey place. But one of the regulars outside of us was a guy named Dean. And Dean was an Irish poet. That's what he did. He was an Irish poet and musician.
Who worked the rails.
Rode the rails. He didn't work them. He rode them. Dean was a hobo. That's what he did. He would pop in. He'd stay in town maybe a month at a time. Then he'd disappear for like 2-3 months. And he'd ride a freight train to New Orleans and busk in Jackson Square and stuff like that. And then he'd go to another place, and he'd go to another place, but he always ended up back there. And then, like 1 or 2 months out of the year, he'd go back to Ireland. Really, he always said he did that for tax purposes.
Yeah.
You know what Dean's doing now, though?
No.
He has seen all of the United States.
Oh, wow.
He has traveled and seen all of the United States. He is now doing Eastern Europe. I see him on Facebook every now and again. He was like in Bulgaria or something not too long ago. Yeah. Didn't you mention something about bad exes?
Yes, we did mention something about bad exes.
Yeah, we have a series of those.
You have a laundry list of Asian twinks.
All of them.
All of the Asian twinks.
All of them. I wasn't a rice queen. I just liked Asians. There was nothing wrong with that. They made good food.
He's eaten dog.
I have, and it was good. Bad breakup.
This poor dog.
Well, there's a reason he has 3 legs. You don't eat a dog like that all at once. The list. Tell them of the list. The list is like, give me a few, and I'll tell the list. Somebody had asked what our favorite drinking songs were. What's your favorite drinking song?
Roxanne.
You don't have to turn off the red light. Yeah, turn on the red light.
Turn on the red
Roxanne,
light.
you don't have to turn off the red light. Keep being a whore, Roxanne.
Be a hooker forever.
Oh, as I went home on Monday night, drunk as drunk could be, I saw a horse outside the door where my old horse should be. Well, I called my wife and said to her, would you kindly tell to me who owns that horse outside the door where my old horse should be? Ah, you're drunk, you silly old fool, so still you cannot see. That's a lovely sow that me mother gave to me. Well, many the days I've traveled 100 miles or more, but a sow with a saddle on I'd never seen before. And as I went home on Tuesday night, as drunk could be, I saw a coat behind the door where my old coat should be. I called my wife and I says to her, would you kindly says to me, who owns that coat behind the door where my old coat should be? Oh, you're drunk, you silly old fool, still you cannot see. That's a woolen blanket that me mother sent to me. Well, many the days I've traveled 100 miles or more, but a blanket with some buttons on I'd never seen before. As I went home on Wednesday night, as drunk could be, I saw a pipe upon the chair where my old pipe should be. I called my wife, I said to her, would you kindly tells me please, who owns that pipe upon the chair where my old pipe should be? Oh, you're drunk, you silly old drunk, so drunk you cannot see. That's a lovely tin whistle that me mother sent to me. Many the days I've traveled 100 miles or more, but tin whistle with tobacco in I'd never seen before. Go ahead. And I went home on Thursday night, as drunk could be. I saw 2 boots beneath the bed where my old boots should be. I called my wife, I says to her, would you kindly tell to me, who owns those boots beneath the bed where my old boots should be? Ah, you drunk, you silly old drunk, so drunk you cannot see. They're 2 lovely geranium pots me mother sent to me. Well, many the days I've traveled 100 miles or more, but laces in geranium pots I'd never seen before. as I came home on Friday night. As drunk could be, I saw a head upon the bed where my old head should be. So I woke my wife, I said to her, would you kindly say to me, who owns that head upon our bed where my old head should be? Ah, you drunk, you silly old drunk, so drunk you cannot see. That's a baby boy that me mother sent to me. Well, many a days I've traveled 100 miles or more, but baby with some whiskers on I'd never seen before. Oh, there we go. That is my favorite drinking song. There's actually 2 more verses of that. I can't remember them. It's called 7 Drunken Nights, and it's essentially an Irishman coming home drunk and finding his wife having an affair, because I am just that sort of a sentimental person. The Drunken Scotsman is the best I ever heard. Is that
Yes,
yeah,
it is.
yeah, it says
Yeah.
How's that one start?
Oh god. I forget this. Like, I can remember the chorus right now.
Yeah, well, so can I. Everybody can remember the chorus of
yeah.
that.
This makes me very...
Yeah, because we saw that in concert.
Well,
remember that?
Well, not only saw it in concert, I used to sing it
Yeah.
every year at the Renaissance Fair.
A Scotsman clad in a kilt left the bar one evening fair. What's the melody on? And one could tell by how he walked he'd had more than his share. Fumbled round and round till he could not keep his feet. Then stumbled off to sleep beside the street. Oh, ring ding diddly o, ring di diddly o. He stumbled off could be, and lifted up his skirt about an inch should they could see. And there before them, to view beneath his Scottish skirt, was nothing more than God had graced him with upon his birth. Oh, ring ding diddly o, ring di diddly o, was nothing more than God graced him with upon his birth. They tarried for a moment, then they said, we must be gone. But let's leave him a present before we travel on. As a gift they left a blue silk ribbon tied into a bow. Around the bonny star the Scotsman's kilt did lift and show. Oh, ring ding diddly o, ring di diddly o. Around the bonny scar the Scotsman's kilt did lift and show. Now the Scotsman woke to nature's call and stumbled toward the trees. Beneath a bush he lifts his kilt and gawks at what he sees. And in a startled voice he says to what's before his eyes, well, lad, I don't know where you been, but I see you won first prize. Oh, ring ding diddly o, ring di diddly o. Oh, lad, I don't know where you been, but I see you won first prize.
Yes, actually, I've had season passes to Mount Hope.
Let's see. Boozy, do you know Barley Mow or the Rattling Bog? Well, this is supposed to be a relationship stream, and here we are singing.
Well, yeah, you kind of got carried away with that.
Well, you kept walking off. I got to do something.
I'm sorry.
Yeah. The list. Should I tell the list?
Yes, tell the list.
I should tell the list. I had, prior to meeting my lovely spouse, a relationship that did not end pleasantly. Well, actually, it ended pleasantly. From my perspective, it was fine. We broke up. Nothing else to say. Let's be pleasant to each other. And we were for a little while. And then they started dating somebody else and decided that the best way to handle this was to walk around bad-mouthing me. So at that time, I hung out at a bar, and this bar had an MC who was a drag queen. We'll call him Tornado Jones. Yeah. To avoid the drag queen whose stage name was Tornado Jones. And in this bar there was the main bar with the stage, and then there was a side bar, a back bar kind of area where all the performers would drink. Well, I knew the performers, so I got to drink at that bar, with just me and the performers. So I'm back there and I'm drinking. And Tornado, whose act was like Hurricane Summers, like that's what they did. They did a really good Hurricane Summers. Came over, and we were talking of this breakup and of the unpleasantness that had arisen from it. And I said, I don't know, Tornado. Maybe I should just leave it alone. And Tornado looked like Hurricane Summers in drag, but sounded like Harvey Firestein. So I say maybe I should just leave it alone. Maybe it'll be okay. And Tornado looks at me and goes, "Oh no, sweetie, you can't let this go." I said, so we're sitting there and we're talking about things. I said, I don't want to be really nasty. I don't want to do this. I don't want to do that. And Tornado goes, "You need to fuck one of their friends. Or you need to fuck their friends."
Which one?
And I'm quiet for a minute. I go, "Well, yeah, but which one?" And Tornado goes, "All of them." I start laughing. I shit you not, though. This drag queen reaches over the bar, grabs a piece of paper and a pen, and goes, "Start naming them." And made a list.
He got through the list.
I completed the list. I used to be, despite all appearances, I used to be a very attractive man. Which led to certain things when we got together. What was your friend's exact words to you when they heard we were dating? He's
Oh, I thought he was gay.
No, he's a man whore.
Oh yeah, there was the man whore.
There was the man whore.
Yeah,
comment.
there was the. There was also the I thought he was gay.
Yeah, well, I always loved that.
He's dating a woman.
Yeah, they said that, and I'm like, we were dating. And I'm like, your last relationship was with someone named Mary. Why is everyone surprised at me? Is that quotation marks?
It is.
I don't think we should tell them if they don't know by now. Oh. Have you been to the Ren Fair in Mount Hope? We've already covered that.
Yeah.
Uncle Kage. Man whore? Mm-hmm. Man whore!
You were a man whore.
That's my new persona name, Boozy Man whore.
Boozy Man whore.
Well, that's
no,
that's not specific enough. That can be like any of 1,000 people.
You're like a fox.
I'm the gray fox. This sounds like something from an It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia episode. Yeah, it kind of did.
It kind of does.
And that may be why I love it, because there are things in Always Sunny in Philadelphia episodes where I'm going, we may have actually done that at some point in time.
Yes. And that is actually...
Do the voice again. "Hello, alligator. How are you?"
Yes!
All of them. Oh, Toad's gonna draw it. We're gonna have art. I had art once. He was horrible.
And then you had all his friends.
And then I had all of Art's friends. Man whore, but enough about male foxes. This is why our relationship works, by the way. We have absolutely no reverence for anything, and very much a dark sense of humor.
Yeah.
Before we got married, when we were living together, we were living in like a shitty apartment. Like the cold in here tonight, and it's not a minor cold. We have like a huge space heater in the living room. That's how we're able to do this.
Yeah.
You're gonna have to go buy small space heaters for the rest of the house.
Yeah.
We're gonna have to do that.
Wait
There's
for the
just no way.
guy to come.
Yeah. Well, he's not gonna come tonight.
No, probably not.
But we're gonna have to put space heaters in the basement and stuff.
Take care of it.
We're gonna have to put at least a small space heater everywhere in each room. At least in the bathroom, down here, and in the basement.
Drag queen or pirate? I like this game.
Hello.
Arg.
But like this is when we were living together. We were living in this apartment, and the apartment was part of this huge old mansion that had been divided up into apartments, and we had like pretty much the entire second floor. But we had a cat named Zeddy.
Yeah.
Zeddy got sick.
Yeah, I had two cats. I had Sacco and Vanzetti. Sacco got hit by a car. Poor Vanzetti came with me to Kentucky. Vanzetti was half Maine Coon and half Tabby.
And all mean. Every bit of that cat was
He
hated
was
me.
A sweetheart.
He hated me.
He loved me.
He was just starting to warm up to me when he got sick.
Yeah, that was a shame because he was 15 pounds at a year old. He was gigantic. But not fat. He was just
He was
a
big.
big
He was
cat.
just big. He wasn't fat. He was just big. He was the size of a small dog.
Yeah. I mean, he had the Maine Coon ear tips, but the rest of him was just like a black... He looked like a black cat.
He was like a teacup panther.
He was.
But Zeddy got sick. And we had an emergency animal clinic, and we called them, and the secretary there said, oh, well, try to give him tuna. So we put tuna, and he wouldn't eat. I slept out on the floor with him that night, remember?
You did.
And the next day, we made an appointment for him to come in, because they said, oh, we can't get him until the afternoon. So I went to classes. Then I came back, and I got him in his carrier, and I took him in to the vet. And he wasn't breathing right, and I kept telling the woman at the desk, we need to see the vet now. And she kept saying, no, you have to ask him. He's having trouble. We need to see the vet now. And they made me wait for 2 hours, and he died while we were in there.
In the waiting room.
And she called, and I didn't say anything, because he'd been dead for a bit by the time I noticed he'd stopped moving in the carrier. But we went in the back, and the vet, who we knew, came in, and she said, oh, how's Zeddy doing? And I opened the carrier, and I said, he's dead. He died in your waiting room because your secretary kept telling me that we had to wait to see you.
She went out and immediately fired the secretary.
She fired the secretary immediately. With me there.
Yeah.
The worst part of this was having to tell her that Zeddy had died.
Yeah, because I was at work at the time he took him.
I think I called our upstairs neighbors and asked them if they would come and get you. So that, yeah. But anyways, we buried Zeddy beneath a very nice tree in my parents' backyard, because we knew we weren't going to stay in the apartment building, and my parents had no intention of selling their house. And there's a little stone there where we bury him, and he's in the ground. She's very upset. And guys, when people around me are upset, I'm the type of person, I want to make you not upset. I want to make you laugh. I want to do whatever I can to make you feel better. So as we're standing there and she's crying, I lean over and I go, I know what you're thinking, but don't do it. What you put in the ground up in that place ain't always what comes back out.
I went from crying to laughing hysterically in like 3 seconds.
And if you don't get that reference, go watch Pet Sematary.
Yeah.
That is like our relationship boiled down into capsule form.
It is.
Like we'll drive down the street, and one of us will say something, and we'll have to pull over from laughing so hard.
Yeah.
And this is fairly normal. Like, we leave to get everywhere early on the off chance that one of us will just start telling jokes on the way. Ricardo DiCaprio. I'm not going to tell you all that one, but I just had to say 2 words. This is...
Oh my god. Give me another.
I know it's not bad of you, but I can't say what I just said on the stream out loud.
Yeah, no,
I can't.
It's bad.
It's bad. It's really, really, really bad. Oh my goodness. It is, let me put it like this. If you have ever seen What's Eating Gilbert Grape, it has a young Leonardo DiCaprio in it. And that series of jokes was made off of what if Leonardo DiCaprio's fine, but every one of his characters is just like the one from What's Eating Gilbert Grape. The mentally mentally challenged younger brother from What's Eating Gilbert Grape, in every one of his roles. Like Jack Dawson from Titanic. Jack Dawson, he's still playing Jack Dawson from Titanic, but now Jack Dawson from Titanic is Gilbert Grape's mentally challenged younger brother. In The Departed, he's still playing the police officer, but now the police officer is Gilbert Grape's mentally challenged younger brother. And we kept riffing on this in the car. And we're laughing. We actually pulled over. We stopped. We got it all out of our systems. We're driving down the road. We get on the freeway. There's silence in the car, like 2 minutes of silence. And I look over and I go, Ricardo DiCaprio. Now that's not slight, by the way, on anybody
No,
who is mentally challenged or has a disability. I guess they say differently abled now, don't they?
Yeah.
Guys, if I get words wrong, sometimes please realize we grew up in the 80s. So, like, just tell me what the proper phrasing is so I can start using the proper phrasing. But it's just hilarious to think of Leonardo DiCaprio spending his entire career playing nothing but that one character in all these high-powered films.
Yeah. It's even worse when you think about what's the one with the bear?
The Revenant! Oh my god! Oh my god! That scene with the bear as Gilbert Grape's mentally challenged younger brother.
It's so horrible. I can't even.
Oh! Oh, that would have gotten banned. Wow! Like, you guys think I'm bad. She encourages this shit.
Sometimes I'm worse.
She encourages... You're much worse.
I just hide it better.
I thought you wanted to have angry sex.
Oh, God.
This is the... By the way, guys, this is part of the key to a good relationship.
It is.
Is finding someone who supports your stupid from time to time and then comes back and does more stupid than you do in return.
Yeah.
Like honestly, I got roped in with the furries and I'm like, huh, there's a lot of animal people talking to me. And she's like, okay.
I'm like
this is a normal thing with us. Oh, you've attracted a bunch of people on the internet. They all wear animal suits and have personas. Well, guess we're doing this now. Like, not even batting an eye. Not a question.
No, there was no question. I'm like, oh, this is kind of cool.
And, like, the other night, somebody's like, oh, so Boozy made you a furry. And what did you say?
I'm like, yeah. What did I say? I did, it was something like, yeah,
like,
he brought me into the fandom, but I dove deeper into it faster than he did.
Yeah, she's like, oh, he found it and like started dipping his toes in, but I was the first one to go, okay, yeah, this is us.
Yeah,
this is us. This is what we're doing now. Like, she supports my stupid. This is a problem because I've got a lot of stupid to go around. Oh. You tell a story. Like, I'm watching the chat. The chat's like, I don't know if the chat's like, I can't believe this.
Just like stunned silence after the Leonardo DiCaprio thing.
Go ahead.
Give me a second.
Go ahead. You got to take it.
Hello?
Oh. She is running around trying to take care of the furnace issue at this exact moment. So yeah, that's what's going on right now. Oh, but yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
You gotta give me a second to recover from that one, guys, because I was not expecting like to go into that whole thing. So, anybody have any other questions in the chat? Because, we're here for a while. We don't have a lot to do right now. After the stream, we're going to, one of us is going to go out to McDonald's and get dinner. And that's the whole thing. Can we start calling you Dadger and Momot? I don't know if she heard that. I have to have her approval on that one.
What was that?
They're asking if they can call us Dadger and Momot.
That's fine with me.
She says it's fine. You can call us Dadger and Momot. Do you have the Walker White? Do you still have the Walker White? I guess the Walker White. The chat will respond to your statements about 45 seconds after any action you take according to diagnostics. Good show name. We need a song. I've sang like 3 songs. What song does Kage want now? Not the Singaporean national anthem.
Not the Singaporean national anthem.
Let's see. Well, I can think of something the two of you can get done. A river song. Have I ever done Old Time Riverman? No, I've done Old Time Riverman. Have I done the coffee one?
Yeah.
I don't think I've done coffee.
I don't think you have.
This is a song by what?
Thanks, Toad.
This is a song by John Hartford once again. John Hartford, in case you don't know, he was a bluegrass singer. He actually wrote several bluegrass songs that you know, and several songs you know just generally. Like Gentle on My Mind, yeah. It's knowing that your door is always open and my path is free to walk. That's him. But he was also a riverman. He was a riverboat pilot and captain, and he wrote a lot of river songs. And when I worked on the river, we knew all of his songs. Like, we would sing them and play them constantly. This is one that he wrote, and I'll see if I can remember all the words. It's well, he likes black coffee, fried eggs, and a well-done T-bone steak. He likes a red dress and the pearly white teeth and the flash of a pretty brown leg. He says, well, back in the 30s, you know, you never had it made. He's an engineer over on the Ohio River, running in the shipwreck trade. At the inspection office in Louisville, had a desk for a very short time. And he played in the band on 2 different boats, running for the Streckfist line. And long ago he smoked reefer and even drank home brew. And the reefer come in through New Orleans back before World War II. He's just a fella worked on the river all his life by paddle wheel. You say he's old-fashioned, but that ain't no big deal. Well, it's too thick to navigate, it's too thin to plow. Let him go on, mama, don't put him down for it now. Well, it comes from a real old-time way of life. He had to fight to just learn how. He might even voted for Nixon once, but I'm sure he sees that now. And Friday nights, he makes the best damn gumbo you ever want to eat. Saturday morning, before everyone's up, he's gone off down to the fleet. He's just a fella worked on the river all his life by paddle wheel. You say he's old-fashioned, well, that ain't no big deal. And it's too thick to navigate, it's too thin to plow. Let him go on, mama, don't put him down for it now. Well, he sits there and smokes an old eye-bolt cigar, said doesn't miss it at all. But he still goes out and he takes a few trips in the summer and then in the fall. Railroad trains, the bus and the planes have taken up all the slack. He's been a-watching all them river towns slowly turn their back. You're as pretty as he is ugly, and he's the luckiest man alive. You've got him into believing that old men are back in style. You see these oysters, Benville, and this baked potato skin. I eat 'em so I can grow up to be an old man just like them. He's just a fella worked on the river all his life by paddle wheel. You say he's old-fashioned, well, that ain't no big deal. And it's too thick to navigate, it's too thin to plow. Let him go on, mama, don't put him down for it now. It's a hell of a lot nicer with background music, but I ain't got no background music.
Yeah.
That's actually one I sang to the kids to put them to sleep.
It was.
Grayson says we should go out and get our space heaters very soon because the temperature is about to start dropping very, very quickly. So, let's see. Walker White is a joke. It's a play on Walter Whiter from Breaking Bad. Walter Whiter.
Right.
Is there a Walter Darker? I would say Walter Whiter's in the first season and Walter Darker's as he progresses.
Yeah, he definitely gets right.
It's 5 degrees, 297 miles. Have I ever used corny pickup lines?
That's how he got me.
It is. Would you like to tell them the line?
Oh, God, what was the line?
Oh, yeah. It's supposed to drop pretty quick.
Okay. Well, I still have a little bit of time to because we
just need to make sure there's heaters in the basement.
Yeah.
If you like Odd American History podcast, The Dollop is pretty good. I'll have to listen to that one.
No, but I do remember the. Do you want to make the biggest mistake of your life?
That's how I proposed to you. That wasn't a pickup line.
But I'm trying to remember the...
Like, if I'm proposing when I meet you, hey, baby, you want to get married?
That would have been a little creepy. No, what was the pickup line you used?
I forget. I think I just told you the DUI story, and then we kept talking.
I think that was it. I think you just... Yeah, told me the DUI story.
Now, the best pickup line I ever used, and it didn't work at all, but I thought it was wonderful, was on Lent and all that. The night that Lent began, I was in a bar. It was midnight. It was before I met you, obviously. Mm-hmm. I was in a bar. It was midnight. Lent had just started, and I poured a beer, walked over to someone that I found very attractive and said, "Hey, honey, I just gave up sex for Lent. Want to help me break a promise to God?" It didn't work, but I thought it was fucking amazing. Let's see. Hey, want to get married? The traditional Southern proposal, usually done brother to sister.
Scroll up a little bit. QM's reaction.
I'm interested to hear QM's reaction when Boozy first told her about this furry thing he discovered from Uncle Kage. Yeah. But go ahead.
I was like, okay, this is what we're doing now.
That literally was it.
Yeah.
It was like the phone was vibrating. She's like, "What's going on?" I'm like, "The furries. The furries are happening." So she logs in. She's like, "Oh, okay. This is what we're doing." And I went to one furry convention, and she's like, "How was it?" And I told her. And then I went to Anthrocon, and by Anthrocon, she's like, "I should probably make a Twitter feed," and then now we're here. We have a lot of stuffed otters now.
We do.
There's otters fucking everywhere. Otters all the way down. We have an otter puppet.
We do have an otter puppet.
There's an otter puppet. And a badger puppet. They know about the badger puppet.
Well, they know about
the badger puppet. They know. Mm-hmm. Let's see. And then when I traveled down out, I am actually very sorry, and I have to apologize to a gentleman in the chat. Uncle Kage had invited me down to be part of his New Year's celebration and to pop into Tien Long's Grumpy stream. I was hopeful that I would be able to make it to that, even after the accident. Then the otter gave me an honest assessment, which was, I believe you told me verbatim, "You're shitting in a bucket. You're not going to North Carolina."
Yeah.
So
he couldn't at that point even get out into the porch. There was no way we were making it several states away.
However, 2 days later, I did say, "I'm tired of pooping in the bucket. Help me upstairs."
We got you upstairs.
You got me upstairs.
But that was you were contemplating about going, and it was several days after we took you out on your first big adventure. And you couldn't even sit in my therapist's office for...
That was... Well, you took me right after my doctor's appointment to your therapist's office.
Yeah, but you were in a physical therapy office, and you're like, "I need physical therapy."
Try clicking on the heat. It's been off for an hour, maybe.
Maybe it'll pop back on.
Yeah. Am I going to Furry Fiesta this year? No, I will not be in Texas this year. The next con I'll be at is going to be Anthro Crossroads East in North Carolina. That's at the end of this month. I should be on a walker by then.
Let's see if that works.
Or I should be on a cane by then. Then after that, I believe we're planning on First Squared. The next one after that I know for sure I'm going to is going to be Furthermore, which is the first one I was at last year. And then after that, Anthrocon, I believe.
Yep.
So... and I'll be at Indy FurCon this year too. And then Tiny Paws. Obviously, I'm one of the guests of honor at Tiny Paws out in Connecticut, which was wonderful. That was a great little convention. That really was. No. That is a very calm, low key, family oriented convention. We took the entire Badgeot clan, and they all had a blast.
They did.
I don't think it kicked on.
I don't think it did.
Yeah.
But it's actually warmed up in here somehow. With the space heater, but...
And you're drinking.
No, I mean the temperature gauge on the wall has heated up. That, yeah.
You have the oven on.
That's true.
We have the oven on to heat. We're doing something you're never supposed to do to warm up the house.
Well, I have a pork roast in it.
So, let's see. Furry Weekend Atlanta. We have talked about Furry Weekend Atlanta. That is a possibility because we know someone in Atlanta.
Mm-hmm.
And he owes us housing.
He owes us housing.
Let's see. What else? Don't ask Silence how well I handle. You aren't up for that. Heading to Furthermore again this year. Yeah, I planned to go to that. Oh, I got to make it to your show. Well, I hope I have a show there. I've talked to Sparf, who's the director of programming, up there, and it looks like he has some plans for me. MCFC. I don't know if we'll make it to Detroit for Motor City FurCon. Let's see. You may find space heaters in short supply. We already found space heaters in short supply. We got a decent-sized one for the living room last night because the furnace was struggling to keep up with the cold. And there are several small ones still there, so we're just going to get like a small, they're like $20.
Yeah.
We're going to get a small space heater for each room. Denver. Are we going to Denver?
We may be.
We may be. Okay.
I thought that was...
That's MeowsCon. That's the one out in Colorado.
But I thought that one was one of the ones that was on the table.
Probably wasn't a good idea to do that.
No, it wasn't.
You should just let the TV turn off. Making it to Furrydelphia later down the line. I hope so. No comment.
Well,
so
we will make it to Furrydelphia.
We'll make it to Furry if it doesn't conflict.
Yeah.
If it doesn't conflict, it's a local convention. I like supporting local things. That is why I go to local stores, even though they tend to cost more than the Walmart with the attached trailer park. So, what's your favorite moment of our marriage?
Besides the kids?
Oh, shit, I should have said the kids. I'm a horrible parent.
I know, that's make you a horrible parent.
Okay, so we've said, like, the thing everybody expects us to hear. Now, what's the real favorite moment of our marriage?
I don't know. There was... there was Gatlinburg. I enjoyed Gatlinburg.
Gatlinburg was fun. Gatlinburg was fun because our oldest daughter, who wasn't that old at the time, neglected to tell us she had to use the bathroom.
Oh, God.
So we're on our way into town to meet my parents who had come down to eat in Gatlinburg, and she used the bathroom on herself.
We started smelling and she didn't say anything. We started smelling something in the car, and then she kind of admitted to it.
So we got to my parents. Were they in a hotel or a cabin?
They were in a hotel. We were in a hotel. Cabin.
That's right. We were in the cabin. We got to my parents' hotel, and obviously she gets in the tub, and I have to go out to try to find a change of underpants. Here is what I learned about Gatlinburg. You can buy shirts with tacky shit on them everywhere. Nobody sells panties for little girls. Except for one drugstore all the way on the other end of the main strip. And I walked in there, and my first thought was, here I am, a big burly man with no children in tow, walking into a drugstore in a tourist community to buy tiny girls' panties. I'm going to jail. I severely underestimated the number of kids who shit themselves in that town, because there must have been 8 other fathers doing the exact same thing. Old people need to go to bed on account we're old. Good night, Mr. Kage. Oh, and speaking of going to bed, it is 8:30. We've been on for an hour and a half. We should probably get heaters and feed people.
Yeah.
So, I hate to call it an early front porch stream, but I am just because of the situation over here. If we get the heater running, I'll do stream or something tomorrow. We'll like set up a little gaming.
Yeah, I'm actually off of work.
Yeah.
So that'll be fun.
So we'll set that up. But if we're gonna call it a good night, you know, let me do what I always do. You've seen this more than once, so you know how I end these. I always end these streams by singing my favorite Irish goodbye song. If you've heard it before and you hate my rendition, please feel free to log off. By the way, another reason I'm ending is Furcast is having Fox, Amore, and Pepper Coyote on tonight, I think.
Yeah.
So, yeah, tune into Furcast. Listen to Fox and Pepper's interview if you can. But I'll sing my song, and then we're done for the night, okay? Of all the money that e'er I had, I spent it in good company. And of all the friends... Wait, how's that start? What is it?
Goodness.
Of all the...
Don't ask the sleep-deprived person.
Oh, yeah. Of all the money that e'er I had, I spent it in good company. And of all the heartache that e'er I caused, at least it was to none but me. And all I've done for want of wit, to memory now I can't recall. So fill to me the parting glass, good night and joy be to you all. Of all the comrades that e'er I had, they're sorry for my going away. And of all the sweethearts that e'er I had, they'd wish me one more day to stay. But since it falls unto my lot that I should rise, and you should not, I'll gently rise, and I'll softly call, good night and joy be to you all. Guys, thanks for tuning in. It's been an absolute pleasure as always. Now we've got to go keep our entire family from becoming badge-ot sickles. Stay warm, be safe, be good to each other, and I'll see you next time.
Good night.